Hey guys, this is Connor with Conquest HP, and this video is why and how to preserve muscle mass when you're dieting, when you're trying to lose weight. This is definitely a secondary consideration if people think about it at all when they're trying to lose weight. Most people that are trying to lose weight have chosen an arbitrary amount of weight, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever it might be. They just want to lose the weight. They just want to see scale weight go down. They don't care where it comes from. They don't care if it's from hair or from fat or from muscle or whatever. They just want the scale weight to go down. I totally get that. It's a very simple metric to aim for, but it can really shoot you in the foot, both short term and long term. So let's start with the hows. Let's start with the whys. Why would you want to work at preserving muscle mass when you're trying to lose weight? It is counterintuitive, right? If I can't lose muscle mass when I'm dieting, then that scale weight's going to move slower. I'm going to lose less overall weight week by week. So it's obviously going to be unattractive to a lot of people for that reason. But the big counter argument to that, the first one we have to put forth is that metabolically speaking, in terms of your metabolism, it is definitely to your advantage to keep that muscle mass. So you've probably heard the metric that fat burns X number of calories per pound and muscle burns X number of calories per pound. That's true. There are different numbers there. Fat is about 2 calories, 2 calories burned per pound of mass per day. So 10 pounds of fat burns about 20 calories per day just to survive. That's just your normal expenditure. Muscle is about 6 calories per pound per day. So automatically muscle is burning 3 times as many calories per day as the same amount of fat tissue. So that's an advantage right there. The other advantages may be more compelling though. There is that metabolism piece that's definitely important, but how you look and how you feel are massive components here. A lot of people, when they choose a weight loss goal, are not thinking about how they want to look. It can sometimes be good to choose like a realistic target of someone that you work with, or someone that is in your life, or someone that you've seen on TV or whatever. A realistic target to try to look like that body can be useful, and it can be useful especially if you choose an appropriate target and a healthy target. I'm not saying go for the runway model look or anything like that, but the look you want probably has some curve to it. It probably has some muscle to it. When we see a fit person, they're not just skin hanging off of bone. That's not what most people want to look like. It's not a good look, really. I mean, that's how we look when we're 95 years old and we're not doing so well. The skin hanging off of bone look. I should sell that, right, as like a proprietary diet. Everyone would be going for it. But really, that's not the look we want. The look we want, that definition we want, when people say they want to tone, what we're talking about is a little more muscle and a little less fat. So if I just cut muscle away from my arm, and I also cut fat away from my arm, I'm just going to have a smaller arm. It's not going to be a better looking arm, it's just going to be a smaller arm. So if I can keep some muscle on that arm, I can keep some shape to it, that it's actually some character there. It might actually be aesthetically appealing. Same thing with having shoulders, right? Or having chest muscles, or having leg muscles, or having butt muscles. All of these things enhance the look of those body parts. And keeping muscle there does not mean that you turn into a bodybuilder. It just means that you have some shape to you instead of looking like skin hanging off of bones. So that's the look part. You have to pick how you want to look. The other part is how you want to feel. Muscle plays a huge role in how you feel. We can also talk about metabolism here. The more muscle you carry, the more physically capable you're going to be. And then that means it's going to be easier and more compelling for me to go for a walk, to go for a run, to play rec sports, to go bowling, to get out and just enjoy the backyard, to do all kinds of things that add quality to my life and absolutely make me healthier and happier. They're all easier sells if you have enough muscle to get you through it. If going to do the gardening in the backyard is like a monumental physical task for you, you're really going to have to psych yourself up to do it. But if I can go out and do the gardening quickly and efficiently, and I'm not going to be sore from it, I won't be in pain, it won't be hard for me, it's easy for me to do it. And then, hey, maybe I can enjoy gardening, right? So it adds to your quality of life. This is the feel part of it. If you have more muscle, more strength, you can do more, you can have more fun with your body, period. Like, that's a compelling argument, as compelling an argument as I'm ever going to be able to make. But there is that metabolism component here too. If I feel good enough to move, I'm strong and mobile enough to move around and get out and play and do fun things, then I'm also going to burn more calories just by moving around. I'm not talking about getting on a treadmill here or doing a Tabata class or something like that. I'm just talking about going out for a walk because you want to go for a walk, or hanging out outside, or standing instead of sitting, those kinds of things. They can add up to a massive, massive amount of calorie burn per day, hundreds of calories per day. So this is an incredibly important part of that feel and the metabolism discussions. If we talk about how we want to actually retain this lean muscle mass, you will actually have to do some work here. And like I already have hopefully convinced you, it will pay off, but you do have to do some work. So the first thing you're going to want to focus on is getting adequate protein in your diet. A lot of fad diets are going to convince you that just do this juice cleanse and just eat these vegetables, because they're just trying to get you down to as few calories as possible without killing you. That's the whole goal. Doing that, like I said before, is going to burn as much muscle as it burns fat, which is not a good thing. So keeping your protein elevated, especially the more aggressive you diet, the higher that protein intake is going to have to be. And when I say that, some people are going to cringe and think that protein intake, elevated protein intake, is dangerous. But recent research in the last few years has shown that you really can't. I mean, it's for all intents and purposes impossible to overconsume on protein enough that it's going to do any damage. It's not dangerous for your kidneys or your bones or your liver or anything like that, unless you have a pre-existing condition in which you want to avoid protein. Obviously, this is not a reason to ignore that. So what am I talking about with adequate protein? We're probably talking somewhere in the range of 0.8 to 1 grams per pound of body mass. So 200-pound guy is going to want to consume, what is that? Quick math, you can test my skills here. Is going to want to consume anywhere between 160 and 200 grams of protein per day. For some people, this is going to seem like an obscene, outrageous amount. But as I said, if your overall calorie intake is dropping, your body is trying to find calories anywhere it can. Having protein in your diet, in your bloodstream, is going to spare your muscles. It's going to stop your body from wasting away those muscles, which is incredibly important. The older you get, the more protein you need to fill those needs as well. So don't think that as you age you need less protein. The opposite seems to be true. So getting your protein is important. Aim for that 0.8 to 1 maybe grams per pound of body weight. That's kind of a good basic guideline to shoot for. The other part is going to be, you have to do some resistance training, some strength training. More cardio does not work here. Doing a dance fit class does not work here. Going for more of a walk does not work here. We need to actually be moving some weight, moving some resistance. And you can start with body weight exercise, body weight squats and push-ups and that kind of thing. If you find those challenging, good. Just work with those for right now. But eventually we need you to transition to free weights, your barbells, dumbbells, that kind of thing, or machine exercises. It really doesn't matter what exactly the format is of the exercise, as long as you're doing something that loads the muscles, that actually forces you to contract them close to maximally and force those muscles to feel that resistance. This, again, is going to tell your body that that muscle mass is incredibly important and it can't afford to lose it. You're going to hold on to that muscle mass because of that. So remember the whys. Remember that it is important to keep that muscle mass as you diet. And remember that it's very simple to do so. And maybe that'll mean that the scale weight comes down a little slower. That's okay. You do not want to lose muscle mass just to get that scale weight down. This is not a good trade-off. The longer term you're looking at living with these decisions, the worse that decision gets. So maintain that muscle mass, make sure you get your protein, do your resistance training, You should already know this. Definitely leave me your comments or questions below if you have any of that stuff. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, if you like the video, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.